Hi guys, Dave here from Wolf in the Wild Survival. So a little while ago I did a video about an instant campsite and it didn't work out super well, so I did some modifications and it's slowly evolving into more than just a campsite, more of a base camp now. Now, it occurred to me through putting this together, thinking it through, a cheap little survival shelter as a just-in-case kind of thing could very easily be a tent that you pay $30 or $40 for. So spending $20 or $25 on some tarps and plastic and kind of whatever for just a little shelter seemed kind of silly, to be honest. So what I've got now is more than just a rustic version of a tent that gets thrown together. This is now becoming more of a little cabin that is very portable, very easy to set up, tear down, move around, whatever you want to do. Which, for some climates, might not necessarily be that much of a need, but in the climate that I live in, it certainly would be. As you can see, we're in the middle of winter time, and although it's not very cold, it's minus 6 degrees Celsius with minus 11 wind chill or something like that. It certainly does get a lot colder. So let's get into this and see what we can do. Alright, so as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger than what I originally thought would be a good idea. But inside here, I have fire starting capabilities, I have food, I have a shelter and kind of a cabin sort of idea. I have the ability to cook. It's tinfoil, but it'll still work. Let me see. I have a knife and a saw. And you know what? Let's just get into it, and you guys can see for yourself. Alright, so first of all, I had to make another makeshift bag because I don't yet have a duffel that I can put this in that it'll fit in, and I don't want to put it in a backpack because I already have a couple of those. So this specifically I want in sort of like a canvas duffel or something. So for the now, it's in this. So wrong ones. Oh well. I'm not going to be able to fold it back up here. Get it back in the bag anyway, because I got to take it home and dry it afterwards. Otherwise, it'll start to rot and mold. Not good. So, not a big deal. There's a tree there. Put that tree there. Okay, so everything that I have here is camo. In hindsight, for the roof, I should have gotten a white tarp to allow more light through. So in a revised version, I will do that. But if you're going to build one of these yourself with my same design here, for the roof, definitely you want a white tarp. I didn't think of that until later, so my bad. All right, now let's get into this thing. There's a lot rolled up here, big time. So, there's the tin foil I mentioned. There's a whole roll of it there. I can make pots, pans, cups, just, whatever. I've got a lot of it here. Paracord. It's going to take paracord to put this up. You're going to want a lot of paracord. Okay, food. I've got 2 packs, or is it 1? Yeah, 2 packs of chicken noodle soup, 1 pack of onion soup. I got a couple of packs of instant oatmeal. I have some of that chocolate chai tea that I like so much. And I have 3 bouillon cubes. I have a chicken, a vegetable, and a beef. And then I have like some little fruit snacks. And I think there's some little candies in there, just to get that sugar into you and help keep you warm. That's what it's all about. Okay, I have water purification tabs. I have a ferro rod and a flashlight, and that cheapo folding saw from World Famous. Which, if I was actually going to put this together, I definitely have a better saw. But for the purposes of what I'm doing here, it'll be fine. That's the roof. Alright. Now, there's a little extra money, but the reinforced grommets really make all the difference. It'll last longer if you buy those. Really will. You know what I forgot to bring today? The hammock. Doesn't really matter, but it would have been nice. You're going to want to stand up in your little cabin. So you're gonna kind of measure your head height and go just a tiny bit above that. In the really cold wintertime, you might want to lower it a little bit just to help heat it up more efficiently. The smaller your shelter, the easier it is to eat. But for the now, I want to be able to stand up in my little cabin. So, head height. So, I've mentioned this before, the Hangsman noose makes an excellent anchor point, and I don't think a lot of people really use that. So, go around, and then make sort of a figure 8. You're going to want a fair bit of extra rope at the end. And you just go around and around and around. That was probably a bit much for this, but now you pull through the back of the figure 8, and then you cinch it tight, and then you put it where you want it and close it off. That is not going anywhere until you take it apart. It's It's there. Now for the other side, you got a hangsman noose over here, but on this side, you're going to want a knot that is adjustable, something that you can tighten and loosen as you need. Oh, you know what I still didn't do? I didn't put the lighter back into... I have a lighter that goes in. And... where did I put it now? And I keep forgetting to do that. Now the problem with Bic lighters is, when they get cold, they don't work very well. So, alright. Okay, try this again. Alright. So you're going to want to be able to tighten your paracord or whatever cordage you're using as it kind of stretches out. And over time, most cord will do that. Paracord definitely. So, you are going to go around your tree, right? And pinch it, go through the inside, and go through the inside, and then go through the outside. And you're going to leave a loop dangling. So you reach inside and you pull through that loop and make your knot. And then adjust my height where I want it and pull her nice and tight. And over time, as it stretches out, you can just make your adjustments however you want. And now, this is a pretty good anchor point too. You don't necessarily have to anchor on one side with a hangsman noose, which I guess is why a lot of people don't, because this is pretty good too. But there's just, I like to do things certain ways, and that's one of the things I do. Now, paracord does have some give to it, and over time it will stretch. So an anchor point is great, but you want to have, what's that called, a taunt line hitch, I think. I know my knots, I just don't know like proper names or whatever a lot of the time. So taunt line hitch, I'm pretty sure. Oh, a great big raven just flew right overhead. Big one too. So there you go. Now you can tighten that whenever you need as it stretches out. Now, if I had my hammock, it would be going from this tree to that tree over there. So when I put up the shelter part, it would go out this way. Now, I'm not going to do that for two reasons. One, I forgot the hammock. Two, there's a tree in the way, there's a bunch of stuff. I looked around for an hour and a half for a better campsite, and I just couldn't find it. Now, once again, if I had the hammock, I would go from this tree to a tree over here, but that would mean while I'm shooting, the cameras would be off in the thicket over here, and it would just be very difficult for me to actually do camera work and do this up properly. So I'm setting it up this way because I don't have the hammock, because I don't have a camera person, it just makes it easier. So just, you know, bear in mind when you're doing something like this and you're setting up, you want to have your back wall with your Mylar a few feet out, and then you want your roof to extend out a little bit as well, and then put everything together that way so that your hammock can be situated in a way that it's not hitting walls and, you know, kind of whatever. So, but you know, like I say, I forgot the hammock, so I don't have to worry about it, and this is just so much easier until I get a camera person, which will probably never happen. But until then, yeah, I got to do what I got to do, right? All right, so let's get the rest of this paracord strung and get this roof up. All right, show you guys another very useful knot. Now, I have an extra long piece of paracord here for this kind of thing because the tarp for my roof is not going to stretch from line to line, so I have to play around a little bit. So that's why I have so much. I'm going to start like that. And you're going to pull it through, and you're going to wrap that over, and you're going to do it again, and then you're going to space them out a little bit, and bang. Now that is making kind of a fist, and that is going to grab the line and allow you to slide. But when you put tension, when you put tension on, it doesn't slide around as much or at all. Now, generally, what you want for this kind of thing is bank line would be better, because if your pressic knot is smaller than the cord that you're using, it holds a whole lot better. And I find that good bank line or mason's twine even holds on to paracord really, really well. So even in a bad windstorm, it's not going to move around. So that is a pressic knot. So I'm going to take the tarp, I'm going to feed this through the grommet here, hopefully, there we are, and I'm going to pull it tight. Right? I want to pull it as tight as I possibly can, you know, without messing anything up, because it's tension that's going to make that pressic knot actually work. So you don't want to leave it slack, or else it'll just slide around. There. There's a lot of tension on it. That ain't going nowhere. But if I take some of the tension off, I can slide it around however I want. So that's how that works. So, because of my, I guess, impatience, just wanting to get this video started before I lose all the daylight, I actually did pick a bad area because this tree is in the way. We're gonna have to improvise a little bit. That means we're gonna need a lot of paracord here. And as I show over and over again in my channel, nothing ever really goes as planned. There's always a hitch. There's always something or other that just doesn't go right, and you got to improvise. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. You just go with the flow. Now I wonder, probably not, but let's give something a try. So my thought is, if I can make a pressic knot, but not use like a whole length of rope to go all right. Now if I tie it right here, that should keep the tension on both sides just fine. I think that'll work. What do you know? It worked. All right, so I'm gonna go to the, I can't go to the corner, so I'm gonna go to the second grommet hole in. And actually I cut a lot of paracord anyway. So I actually could have. I was trying to save paracord, but what are you gonna do? So actually, nope. So taut line hitch it is. There. That ought to do that. Now, anchor that down to the ground. I think we're full. Just use this. We got the roof up. That took almost an hour. Oh. We got the roll up the rim going. I don't know if you guys in the States have Tim Hortons now. I don't know if you guys have roll up the rim, but let's oh, cold. Iced coffee. All right. Let's roll up the rim and see if I get anything. Huh? Oh, please play again. Oh, nothing for me. Okay, so normally for the grommet here and here, I'd also connect those. You know, try to keep everything nice and tight. Make sure that I'm doing okay. But yeah, for this video, I'm not going to bother because I've already spent a lot of time looking for this campsite and trying to get everything to be as perfect as possible, which, as you can see, doesn't really happen. So, what's this part? Yeah, okay. So this is one of my walls. Now, it is a little bit overkill, which is probably why my my whole pack was so big, but I want to have as much freedom in configuration as possible. So in the wintertime, maybe I could have a little smaller. In the summertime, maybe I could have it a little bigger. Still have a sheltered area, so yeah, you know, it just, it gives options, basically. I want to have as many options as possible. So even if it's the summertime, I've got this as sort of a sunshade, and I want to have like a little area outside that's still sheltered from wind. I've got two sections that are 20 feet long and can go up to like 7 feet high, which, as you know, I know that's overkill, but if you have 5 feet high, then you got a couple of feet of floor that you can put your gear on, that, you know, you can sit on or whatever and stay fairly dry. And you know, it gives you options. That's what I'm going for. So I'm gonna get the first section of wall up and see what happens. As you can see, first wall is up. There is a gap. This is so that I can have a fire inside and smoke can get out. If no fire is needed inside, not really such a big deal. You can close it off as much as you want. Wintertime, at least here in Canada, you're going to want a fire to keep warm even in the daytime. Now, to my surprise, 10 feet by 7 feet doesn't actually stretch as far as I thought it would. So I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work out. I might need another tarp. I might actually... Now, I have a clear tarp that I can use as well. That was supposed to be for kind of part of the shelter to close yourself off at night and sort of help keep you warmer. But that doesn't really matter right now because, one, I'm not actually going to sleep the night here, and two, I don't have the hammock and, you know, kind of whatever, so it's not much of a going concern. So for the time being, I'll probably just use the clear tarp and see how things work out. But let's finish it off and see what happens. Back wall is up. Got a fair bit of floor, like I mentioned. Can you even see that? Nope. Okay. So there we are. Fair bit of floor. Got my stuff sitting there now. That would be the heat reflective part that you would sleep near. If I had a hammock and if I was going to sleep here, that is. Okay. Now the general plan was to make this a fair bit bigger. But with this tree in the way and the way things are working out, I'm not sure if I can do that or not now. I don't know. So I think what we're going to have to do... Oh yeah, I bought the tarps with the reinforced grommets. They're only reinforced on the four corners. The other side, they're not. They're actually kind of starting to tear as I'm tying stuff up and whatnot. So beware of that when you're buying tarps. If you can, try to make sure you get the ones that are reinforced, like all of them. If that's even available, to be honest, I don't know. All right, how am I going to do this? Let's see. If I secure that to this tree that is in my way, just unravel it a bit, and yeah, we're going to have to do it that way for this particular location. Oh. You can try this at home, kids. I am not an expert. Actually, instead of cutting that, let's just play around a little bit and try to keep this one whole. And okay, let's tie it to the grommet that I actually wanted it on first. There we are. Okay. Come on, Dave, we're running out of daylight here. It ain't the summertime. Okay, and so we're inside now. Now, with the way that I'm sheltered from the wind, it's actually nicer in here. Let's just raise the... Not my finest work, I will admit. Not my finest work at all. But actually, you know, so directly behind you is a tree. Right behind the camera is a tree. And The tarps are connected to it, and I could get a tree strap right through there, nice and easy. And then there's a tree just over here. Listen, I could put a hammock up, diagonal wise, no problem whatsoever. Wouldn't be an issue. And then, if holding the floor a bit, there we go. Now I've got gear storage. That would work. That would work just fine. Now, as for that doorway, this big wide open space, there's a tarp. I can unfold that, string it across, and the way I have it, I use some Gorilla Tape, and I just cut some little holes, and it would work like a shower curtain. It would actually, like, I could open and close it very easily, just with some pressing knots. So that really isn't too bad. It really isn't too bad at all. I wonder, I should have put the roof on last, I think. I definitely should have put everything else up first and then the roof. So I'm not going to do it now, because I'm really quickly running out of light. I've got maybe 2 hours of daylight left, and yeah, about 2 hours. And okay, so let me see. I started walking into the woods 2 hours ago. I left my house ages ago. I had a few things that I had to do, and then I had to sort of get everything ready to do this. So I left my house like this morning, fairly early. But by the time I tear all this down and somewhat roll it up and get out of here, it'll be pretty close to dark. So I'm not going to play around with it too much, but I know exactly how it'll work, and I have to say, it's not really all that bad. It could very easily be modified to work out perfectly. Let me put you outside and show you. So it's kind of difficult to get decent angles and whatnot to show you everything without, I don't know, panoramic view maybe or whatever, but I don't have that. So there's the door. Okay, so I got a lot of floor space here. I got a ton of it right here, like right by the door kind of thing, which maybe I'd want the door over there instead of right here, but whatever. Well, no, because then the hammock. Either way, so I have a big gap right here. Great big gap. So if I were to put the roof on now, it would actually be against the tree there, a lot better, and then I would connect the grommets on the sides, you know, kind of whatever. I would actually do that up a little bit better. So, because there's a lot of roof space out here. So here's the back of my shelter. There's a lot of roof right here that could easily be over there. Very easily. Now this, in theory, could be like a firewood storage if the entire thing was covered over there. So maybe when I get the white tarp for the roof, I'll get one that's bigger and it'll just be easier to work with. So this, I believe, is an 8x10. I wanted a 10x12, couldn't find one in camo. But if they have one in white, all the better. Because, you know, thinking about just, you know, the light and kind of whatever, it would be a lot better to have a white tarp for your roof. So now that being said, for your sleep area, you could have a small tarp that you just cover up so it stays dark while you're sleeping if you don't want to get woken up by the early morning sun. But I think a white tarp for the roof would be better, and a 10x12 or a 12x12 would be great. So that, yeah, that would definitely work a whole lot better. And you know, like I say, even still, I could have some firewood storage out here, and it would stay somewhat dry if it started to rain. So that works. Okay, so let me just take you on a little tour. So there is the doorway. Sort of the back area, sort of, well, the side with the tarp hanging over that I was just talking about. There's the side wall. That's the first one that I put up. And that's almost 10 feet. And there's the back. I got the tarp kind of folded around, sort of. That tree got into the riggins, and I'm not going to cut it down. I'm not gonna kill a tree just for an example video. That would be silly. And then back around to the side where I was just showing. Okay. So we step into the shelter. And we got a fair bit of floor space and some more floor space. Now, some of that's going to have to be kicked aside to make room for a fire. And some, say maybe every 3 feet, every 4 feet, maybe just cut a strip so that you can roll up part of the floor, you can kind of play around with it, and then you just reinforce it with some Gorilla Tape. Just nicely reinforce that with every cut, so that, you know, every 3 or 4 feet, if you want some floor space, say over here, but you don't want it over here because you're going to have a fire, then, you know, you just roll it up, you tuck it away, you kind of do whatever, or, you know, you tuck it outside and you put firewood on it. That is a project. Before I go further with this, is maybe cut some strips, and so I'll keep about 6 feet of wall, and then I'll just cut and reinforce, and maybe even put some grommets in it so that I can clip them or tie them or whatever, so that they're not going to flop around, and, you know, really put some more effort into that. So now there's the gap in the roof, quite a big one, but, you know, if I took it from the back and moved it over, it would definitely work. And if I had a slightly bigger tarp, it would be so much better. So, all in all, that really doesn't work out all that bad. I've got a complete little cabin, and I theoretically have, you know, a place to sleep. I've got my hammock. I just don't have it with me, like I mentioned. And I could configure this thing around in a number of different ways. That, you know, I could have just a lean-to, I could have a double lean-to, I could have a full floor, I could have no floor or a partial floor. There's all kinds of stuff I can do with that. Yeah. So from where I'm standing now, I would say that this test was probably heads and tails better than the first test. Even though I could have had a better roof and I forgot the hammock, and it just, I think this went together a little bit better. And even, you know, with a few hiccups here and there, I really do think this worked out a lot better. First lesson learned: put up the walls before you put up the roof. This way here you can adjust around as you need to. Lesson 2: have a checklist before you go out and shoot a video. Hey, derp. Okay, so alright, so what did I use to put this whole thing together? First of all, the walls, I bought a 10 foot by 15 foot tarp, and I cut it in half to have 10 feet long, 7.5 feet height. I could have cut it to have 15 feet long, but then I'd have walls that were 5 feet high, which would mean either there would be like a 1 foot couple inches gap between the top of the wall and the roof if I had it just above my head, or I would have to bring it right down and I'd constantly be hunched over inside my little hut. So I opted for the height of the walls, just to just for convenience sake, I guess. I don't want to hunch over all the time. And all in all, that it gives me floor space as well. So if the ground is damp at all, I don't want to put my stuff on the damp ground or in the snow or, you know, whatever. So it just gives me, I don't know, a little more versatility, I guess. The back wall is a 10 by 12 tarp that I took some dollar store Mylar and used some spray adhesive and some Gorilla Tape and whatever, and stuck it on there. Which eventually I'll probably do to the entire thing. I'll have the whole inside Mylar. But for the now, it's only on the back wall where you would generally be sleeping. The roof is also a 10 by 12 tarp. Or no, it was an 8 by 10. I couldn't find a 10 by 12. They were all out. But I'm going to go and get another one in more of a clear white kind of thing, just to let sunlight through a little bit better, to brighten up the inside of the shelter. You don't want, I don't want it dark and dank and, kind of whatever. I want it to be a little better lit up, especially if I'm filming inside. So it will be a 10 by 12 or 12 by 12 clear or white tarp for the roof. what else did I've got the clear sheet, you know, for a door that'll slide around or whatever, and that can also be part of the sleep area, so you close yourself in and keep warmer if at all needed. I don't know if it'll be needed or not. And then, oddly enough, okay, I went through 110 feet of paracord, just lashing everything together and getting it all cinched in. And I didn't even tie in everywhere that I should. So you should put at least 200 feet of paracord in your kit. Minimum 200 feet. You never know. Now, I brought like 220 feet, so not a big deal. But I did go through a lot of paracord, and if I actually did it properly and I had a slightly better area to do this in, I'd probably go through maybe a little more, maybe a little less, all depending. But you want extra. You always want to have extra. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So a clear or white 10 by 12 or 12 by 12, and then an 8 by 12, and then a 10 by 15, and then some of that clear sheeting, 200 feet of paracord, and then, you know, some fire lighting stuff, some water purification stuff, some tin foil, some food, a folding saw, a fixed blade knife, a flashlight, and what else did I? Something that I don't have in there, but I meant to do, is maybe a little bit of first aid. Putting all this together, messing around with knives and saws and, you know, kind of whatnot, you should always have some first aid. So, yeah, bring some first aid. Yeah. All told, I'm probably a little over 50. I'm far less than 100. I do know that. Should have kept receipts. But yeah. I have a makeshift cabin that I can set up in the woods, given, you know, a decent space and kind of whatever. But even improvising it went up okay, and, you know, not super bad. So I'm going to call this one, you know, a success. I'm going to finish off this video basically saying that I'm happy with the way it went. I will do a few modifications and find another place to set up, and I will do it again until I get it right, because that's how we do this. You know, you don't just buy a bunch of junk and throw it into a bag or into your closet or the back of your car. You play with it, you test it out, you make sure it's going to work. So I'll see you guys again for another one of these videos, hopefully real soon. But either way, yeah, I'm liking the way it's coming together. Thanks for coming out, guys. See you in the next video, and remember, a bad day around the campsite is still better than a good day at work.